All right, for those of you who listened to the last one, I apologize. I went really fast and my voice sucked. My voice still sucks. I'll try and go slower, but this is a nice small one. First thing I want to do is talk about interest groups. And if you look at the political cartoon on the left, I want you to really think about this and analyze this. I put these things in here for a reason. What we see is the Capitol building in the background. So this is where Congress works. And then you see the sign that says Congressional Parking Lot. Take a look at what the cars say. We've got different license plates on each one, and then we have the same logo or hood ornament on each car. I want you to think about that and think about what this political cartoon means, because tomorrow I'm going to ask you about it. Okay? What are interest groups then? They're an organization of people. And again, when we talk about an organization of people, it's nothing more complicated than people who get together on their own. If you think about things like I work with the Hastings hockey boosters and the hockey board, that's just a group of people who got together who wanted to start hockey in Hastings. And so they figure out the best way to do that. Interest groups are the same things, other than they try to influence government, because government has people who are elected to make the policies. So they try to influence the decisions and policies of government. Nothing more complicated than that. They have an issue or a set of issues that they want change enacted. When we talk about interest groups, we could talk about government and interest groups as a combined working together, because both groups work to shape public policy for their benefit, the government and the interest groups. The government is trying to help their constituents, the elected officials. Their constituents are the people they represent. The interest groups are trying to represent their constituents, the people who agree with them on how to affect change and what their stance is on a single issue. I've got a couple of different groups. You don't have to write these down, but I want you to be aware of what interest groups look like. MAD, so Mothers Against Drunk Driving. They're going to try and lobby Congress to pass tougher drinking and driving laws, make the penalties harsher, make the punishments more severe, bigger fines. They're going to lobby against the alcohol industry. YMCA, YWCA, FFA, Future Farmers of America. NRA is a very powerful one as well. They're going to deal with gun rights. They're going to talk about restricting legislation that will eliminate their ability to purchase guns or eliminate their ability to own firearms. DARE is an interest group talking about trying to get kids to stop using drugs and alcohol. The NAACP, working for minority rights, minority issues. PETA, trying to protect animals. Women's League of Voters used to be incredibly powerful. I don't feel like it is as much anymore, but they were incredibly powerful, especially right after women were able to get the vote. They worked for women's issues. That doesn't mean I don't think they're important. I would say that their problem is they're kind of very successful. We have a lot of success for women's movements. Doesn't mean there isn't a need for more, but what we would say is that they've been very successful, so then they're less important now. How do they achieve their goals then? What do interest groups do? They write their representative. Okay, if I write a letter to my congressman, I got to be honest, every time I've written a letter, they've answered. Doesn't mean they've really done anything. But I'm just one person. If an interest group representing tens of thousands of people writes a letter, well, then they're going to pay more attention. They talk to the representative. I actually did talk to a representative. I called him about something. I left a message at his office about an issue I had and a concern I had with some of the legislation. And he was nice enough and kind enough to sit down face to face and meet and discuss this. They will, if they're experts, testify in Congress for or against bills. They'll tell Congress why they're good, why they're bad, how it will affect their interest groups, how it will affect their constituents. This is where we really get into things. Advertising, because interest groups have money. So they will advertise for or against candidates based on how they stand on the issue. They'll provide dinners. They'll provide contributions. They'll provide endorsements. These are all ways that candidates can raise money for their election. And this is one of the biggest concerns about politics in America today. It's the idea that these large interest groups, they tend to refer to them as special interest groups, they have so much money that they gain so much influence because our candidates need to raise so much money to win elections. Lobbyists, on the other hand, then, What is the difference between an interest group and a lobbyist? And again, you'll see political cartoons here. The top one on the right, you see Congress, you see water around it, and you see lobbyists are the water around it, and the voters are on the outside. Stop and think, what is that artist trying to tell us? The one on the bottom. Here we see a congressperson talking, and you see the pencil with the word lobbyist on it. What are they trying to say? What is their message? What is their view? Okay, what is a lobbyist then? There's someone who's paid. They work for either a company, an interest group, an individual, someone, and they're paid to influence elected officials. They are usually paid by interest groups or corporations. Sometimes lobbyists will work for charitable groups on their own. That's very rare. So a lot of politicians, after they're done being a congressperson, will get a job simply trying to influence other congresspeople. We could see, again, this idea of following the money trail. In Minnesota, this is full disclosure here, the teachers union has the most lobbyists in Minnesota at the state level. In fact, last record, we had more than 3 times as many lobbyists as the next highest group. So here's what we see. We have congresspeople who are trying to pass laws and influence government, trying to create government action to try and fix things. We have lobbyists who are paid by interest groups to help influence their decisions, and we have interest groups who raise money on behalf of people to get congresspeople to act. We'll discuss and clear this all up Monday and make sure you understand this complicated web of interaction. Have a good weekend.